is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Good evening, Philippines, and good day, world. It's Tuesday, November 28th, 2023, and you're watching Newsline World. I'm Sarah Santos, and we will bring you the top stories we have gathered from all over the globe. In the headlines, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ reiterates Vice President Sara Duterte's stance against the International Criminal Court amid the Congress leftist members' clamor for the foreign court to probe former President Duterte's anti-illegal drugs campaign. Pastor Apollo also showed his unwavering stance amid threats to topple Sunshine Media Network International, saying that only the evil will threaten to remove SMNI. The extension of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is currently in effect. However, complications arise after the Israeli military revealed that a 10-month-old baby and his family was transferred by Hamas to another Palestinian terror group. Presidents Xi Jinping and Joe Biden will reportedly skip the COP28 summit in Dubai. And Brazilian President Lula da Silva is set to propose international reforms as his country will take on the rotating presidency of the G20. These and more for tonight's edition of Newsline World. First in the news, the Philippines emerges as the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia, according to the Secretary of the country's Finance Department. The government also said it aims to boost agricultural production to curb inflation. Creselyn Catarong has the details.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. held a sectoral meeting with the Department of Finance, focusing on plans to sustain the country's economic growth.
The Philippines is recognized as the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia, poised to surpass its counterparts in East Asia and the Pacific, as announced by Finance Secretary Benjamin Diokno during a Tuesday press briefing at the Malacanang Palace. Diokno expressed confidence in the country's continued growth amid the anticipated global economic slowdown, echoing the sentiments of international financial institutions.
So even the international financial institutions agree. No? In fact, their outlook is that the economy, the Philippine economy, will grow the fastest. No? Globally, the economy will actually slow down.
Diokno, who was present during President Marcos' sectoral meeting, shared projections of a roughly 6% economic growth for the current year. He further emphasized an expected growth ranging from 6.5% to 8% for the remaining term of the president. The finance chief pointed out that the World Bank anticipates the Philippine economy to outpace its peers in East Asia and the Pacific. Comparing the performance of the Philippines with other ASEAN countries and China, Diokno highlighted the Philippines' 5.9% growth in the last quarter as the fastest among the surveyed economies.
Now, if you look at the performance of the Philippines compared to other ASEAN countries, including we included China here, we're the fastest growing economies in Asia. Okay, 5.9, that's the third quarter growth, and then compared to Vietnam's 5.3, Indonesia's 4.9, 4.9 for China, Malaysia 3.3, and Singapore 0.7.
Meanwhile, Secretary Diokno said the Marcos administration is actively implementing measures to reduce inflation, primarily by ensuring sufficient local production of essential goods. According to Diokno, the government aims to enhance production and bridge the domestic supply gap through timely and adequate importation based on preemptive supply and demand analysis.
So we are implementing these measures to make sure that we are able to mitigate inflation. So what are this? We want to improve the production and fill the domestic supply gap through timely and adequate importation based on ex-ante supply-demand analysis.
Diokno added that the Philippine government is closely monitoring market developments, utilizing remote sensing technology such as satellite imagery for maize and rice production. This technological approach enables the government to expedite responses to weather conditions and implement the plan to mitigate and adapt to the El Niño phenomenon.
So, with the use of the satellite, we can see gaano ba talaga yung nakaplant na corn and rice, so na-anticipate natin kung magkano yung supply. Now, we will fast-track the response to address the impact of recent typhoons and the implementation of the El Niño mitigation and adaptation rehabilitation plan.
It is noteworthy that the headline inflation of the Philippines dropped to 4.9% in October from 6.1% in September. The Finance Department is optimistic about a continued slowdown in the country's inflation rate in December. Meanwhile, another positive development reported by the DOF is the Philippines achieving the lowest external debt-to-GDP ratio among the total debt of the country.
For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Carceline Catarong, SMNI News.
Veterans and officials from various parts of Southeast Asia, including Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, and the Philippines, gathered on Tuesday for the 22nd General Assembly of the Veterans Confederation of Asian of ASEAN Countries 2023, or VECONOC 2023. Department of National Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro Jr. served as the guest of honor for the event, with Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr. also in attendance. A total of at least 160 delegates from the VECONOC member countries, composed of veteran organization leaders, officials from different national defense departments, and defense attachés in the region participated. During his speech, Secretary Teodoro took the opportunity to extend his best wishes to the veterans and delegations visiting the Philippines.
Insofar as I'm concerned as the supervisor of Veterans Affairs, I extend once again to each and every one of you the best wishes individually to each and every delegation and to the veterans of those of your countries and collectively as an ASEAN veterans community. Welcome to the Philippines.
Defense Secretary Teodoro meanwhile emphasized the consequences of other countries continuously violating and not adhering to guidelines based on the international order.
As a colleague in the ADMM said, and I will not name him, he was asked, what is your problem? What is your greatest threat? When you wake up the next day and you have a neighbor that you do not expect to be your neighbor. That is what will happen if we do not collectively stand up for our rights pursuant to the rules-based international order.
The Secretary added that unless every country unites and properly uses its influence, the efforts of each individual may be in vain.
And why am I telling you this? Because if we disregard the signs of the times and we fail to act collectively and you fail to exercise your influence on your current leadership in order to act as one, then your individual struggles may have been for naught, which we do not want to see.
Secretary Teodoro then urged against repeating the mistakes of past leaders and emphasized the importance of maintaining peace and building trust with neighboring countries in Asia. Reporting from Newsline World, Almar Forsuelo, SMNI News.
The president of Brazil plans to propose a reform of international institutions during the country's time as president of the Group of 20 regional bloc. Natalia Prado will tell us more live. Natalia.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio da Silva said that Brazil's G20 presidency will focus on three main discussions. Among them could be making change to the global governance system. Lula said he used the Brazilian mandate to propose a reform of international institutions and to raise the issues of inequality, such as debts of the world's poorest countries. The Brazilian leader pointed out that many times institutions lend money to poor countries not to save them but to pay off debts. The subject of energy transition will also be discussed under the Brazilian mandate as the South American country aims to make a global impact on clean energy innovation. In July, the Brazilian leader announced the government's plan to invest hundreds of billions of dollars towards clean energy as part of Lula's signature policy. The G20 includes the world's largest 19 countries, plus the European Union and the African Union that gather every year to discuss economic issues. In September, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi officially handed over the gavel to Lula to mark the ceremonial transfer of the G20 presidency. Sara, Brazil assumed the G20 presidency starting on December 1st this year, and his mandate will end on the 30th of November 2004. Back to you, Sara.
Thank you, Natalia, for that live report. The presidents of China and the United States will miss a gathering of world leaders in the United Arab Emirates scheduled to start this week. Jonathan Akobo has the details.
The global leaders are counting the days before this year's UN Climate Summit opens in Dubai. However, the heads of the world's two largest economy will skip the event. U.S. President Joe Biden will not attend the 2023 UN Climate Change Conference to be held at Expo City, Dubai from the 30th of November until the 12th of December 2023. Biden will skip the event as he balances the demands of the Israel-Hamas war and a presidential campaign. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will travel to Dubai to represent the American leader. Although the White House released a list of Biden's schedule for this week, it is still possible that he could make an appearance before the summit ends. Chinese President Xi Jinping is also expected to miss the international gathering and will be sending delegates on his behalf. Meanwhile, days before this summit, Chinese engineers completed the world's largest single-site solar power plant in the UAE. Known as the Al Dhafra Solar Photovoltaic Project, the 2-gigawatt plant was built in a desert outside Abu Dhabi, capable of providing electricity to about 200,000 households. The flagship project under China's Belt and Road Initiative required 4 million panels to build and design to reduce carbon emissions by 2.4 million tons every year. COP28, which stands for Conference of the Parties, is the 28th annual United Nations climate meeting where participating countries discuss and negotiate actions to address climate change. UAE has announced the so-called Net Zero by 2050 strategic initiative, a national drive to achieve net zero emissions by the year 2050, and will make it the first country in the Middle East and North Africa or MENA region to do so. The Gulf nation also made an ambitious pledge to plant 10 mangrove trees for every attendee, which means an estimated 800,000 mangrove trees could be planted in Abu Dhabi after the event. This year's summit, set to begin on Thursday, is expected to convene more than 70,000 participants. Tajublak al-Mazimit Hatiti at Karim Nibay Kanal Jonathan Kubos My News, United Arab Emirates.
More hostages were released after Israel and Hamas agreed to extend the short-term ceasefire by 2 more days. Qatar's foreign ministry has confirmed that a deal has been reached to extend the short-term ceasefire on Monday evening. The truce was extended to allow the entry of additional aid into the besieged enclave and release the largest possible number of hostages and prisoners. The initial 4-day truce expired on Tuesday morning. Under the deal, Israel would release 3 Palestinian security prisoners for each one of the 50 hostages freed from Gaza. So far, Israel has freed 150 Palestinians from prison, while Hamas has released a total of 73 hostages since Friday, including 2 U.S. citizens and 2 Israeli women over the weekend. Hamas pledged to release another 20 women and children over the next 2 days under the extended truce. Tech billionaire and CEO Elon Musk visited Israel to meet with top leaders, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, amid accusations of anti-Semitism. Jaden Kudnita has the story.
Last night, some of them...
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has given billionaire and social media mogul Elon Musk a tour of Kfar Aza kibbutz, an area that was attacked by Hamas last October 7. Musk and Netanyahu was wearing a vest and escorted by security personnel on a rainy day. The Starlink CEO also used his phone to take photos or videos of the aftermath of the attack. Musk's visit came as Israel and Hamas reached a deal to extend their truce for 2 more days. Netanyahu and Musk went to the Liebstein family home, where Musk heard about the heroic story of the late Ophir Liebstein, the head of the council who was murdered on the morning of October 7 in an exchange of fire with terrorists who infiltrated the kibbutz. They then proceeded to visit the home of the Itamari family, where Musk heard about the family story of the 4-year-old girl Abigail Idan, whose parents were murdered and who was kidnapped to Gaza and released from Hamas captivity yesterday. A representative of the IDF spokesperson's office showed photos taken a few days after the massacre. The Israeli Prime Minister and Musk also held a live chat on X, wherein Netanyahu labeled Hamas as a death cult, to which Musk agreed, expressing his concerns over protests that are held in favor of Hamas.
Because we have first a mission to destroy Hamas. Nothing's going to stop that. Because if you want peace, destroy Hamas. If you want security, destroy Hamas. If you want a better life for the Palestinians in Gaza who've been hijacked by Hamas, destroy Hamas. All of that is a precursor to the question that you asked. You first have to get rid of the poisonous regime, as you did in Germany, as you did in Japan, in World War II. These were two...
There's no choice. There's no choice.
So that's a prerequisite.
Yes. There's no choice.
But then look at what happened. I mean, what you had in Germany was denazification, and what you had in Japan under Douglas MacArthur was a cultural reformation. And Japan that you visit today is so different from Japan of the 1930s. Germany that you visit today is so different from Germany of the 1930s. Well, is that possible in the Arab world? And I categorically say, of course it is, because we've seen it already in 2 places. We've seen it in the Gulf states, but there's another country with a very substantial Arab minority where that is already taken place, and that's called Israel. 20% of our citizens are Arabs, most of them Muslim. They serve on, in high places in the academy, in the Supreme Court, in the Knesset, and so on. And I'm not saying that there isn't some radicalism there, but mostly there isn't. And in fact, they're integrated into the society. So we have to do the same thing. We have to demilitarize Gaza after the destruction of Hamas, and we have to de-radicalize Gaza, and that will take some time, especially work on the mosques and on the schools. That's where children are, imbibe their values. And then we have to also rebuild Gaza, and I hope to have our Arab friends help in that context.
Elon Musk has faced accusations of tolerating anti-Semitic messages on X since purchasing it in 2022. On the same week, the tech mogul responded on X to a user accused Jews of hating white people and professing indifference to anti-Semitism. Musk replied, quote unquote, "You have said the actual truth." His response has faced an outcry from netizens and even the White House. Meanwhile, Israel settled with Musk over his satellite internet company Starlink after it agreed to operate in Gaza only with government approval. And during his visit to Israel, Musk tweeted that actions speak louder than words. Reporting, this has been Jane Cognita, SMNI News.
Eleanor Jimmy Pacheco, a 33-year-old Filipino caregiver who was taken hostage to Gaza by Hamas on October 7th, has been released from the hospital, as said by the Philippine Embassy in Israel. According to the embassy, Pacheco was released from a hospital on November 26th after Israeli doctors determined that he is in good health and fit for discharge. The embassy accompanied him to his assigned accommodation, where he will spend the next few days recuperating and reconnecting with his family. Pacheco shared that he lost 11 kilos after 49 days of captivity. The embassy is preparing his new passport for him to be able to go home and spend Christmas with his wife and 3 children in the Philippines. All of Pacheco's belongings, including his passport, were destroyed when Hamas militants burned their house after murdering his elderly employer. He will also receive initial financial assistance from the embassy's DMW OWA team, as well as additional benefits. Meanwhile, tensions escalated as the Israel Defense Forces revealed that 10-month-old baby Kefir Bibas was abducted with his 4-year-old brother Ariel, and their parents were transferred to another Palestinian group in Khan Yunis. This further complicated the ceasefire negotiation, and the IDF accused Hamas of using infants as bargaining chips. According to reports, aside from baby Kefir Bibas and Ariel Bibas, there are still 8 more children who are currently being held hostage in Gaza. Iran introduced its newest and advanced warship as part of its Caspian Sea fleet. The arrival of the destroyer comes in the wake of mounting tensions with Israel and Iran. Melchizedek Cadiz has the news.
The 1,400-ton Diliman destroyer, named after a town in northern Iran, joined the Navy's Caspian fleet earlier this week. Iran's armed forces described the military vessel as one of the most advanced destroyers of the Navy and does not fall behind the world's leading destroyers, as reported by the local media. The destroyer was designed by the Iranian Navy. Diliman uses the advanced Iranian Eagle-eyed radar station, capable of detecting 100 targets all at the same time with a range of 200 kilometers. The vessel is equipped with cruise missile launchers for above-surface targets, short-range missiles for aerial targets, and Iranian torpedoes for subsurface targets. The country's armed forces added that countless successes can be achieved by relying on its domestic potential at a time when the Islamic Republic is pounded by Western sanctions. Reporting, this has been Melchizedek Cadiz, SMNI News, Kuwait.
Kabayan! Oo, ikaw. Alam mo ba na you can win lots of prizes when you bring home a guest in the Philippines? The Department of Tourism brings you the Visita Be My Guest program. Joining is easy. 1. Sign up as a sponsor. You can do this via the official BBMG website. All Filipinos of legal age living in the Philippines or abroad can join. 2. Invite your guests. The more you invite, the more chances of winning. And 3. Travel to the Philippines and upload your proof of travel to complete the registration process and earn e-raffle tickets and the BBMG travel passport and privilege card that you can use to get discounts as you travel around our award-winning destinations in the Philippines. Join now and get a chance to win in any of the 3 raffle dates in 2023. So what are you waiting for? Come home and bring your guests to the Philippines. Sign up, invite friends and family, and travel to the world's leading beach and dive destination and the world's leading country destination for tourism, the Philippines. Visita Be My Guest in the Philippines.
Hanap mo ba ay food cart business? At magsimula ng sariling negosyo na hindi kinakailangan ng franchise fee? Mura at abot kayang halaga? Narito ang S&D Food Carts para sa iyo. Ang S&D Food Carts ay gumagawa at nagsusupply ng mga mura at abot kayang halaga ng mga food stalls, bike carts, motor carts, kiosk, food van, mall carts, display racks, tables, chairs, at iba't ibang wood and metal products. Subok na matibay, maaasahan at mapagkakatiwalaan. Ang S&D Food Carts ay mayroong Luzon at Mindanao branch na pwede ninyong lapitan para sa negosyong swak na swak. S&D Food Cart, your partner to success.
The healthy way to lose weight at Mark's Power 4 Slimming Program. Step 1.
Detoxify with Edmark Shake Off in pandan and lemon flavor. Fast, effective colon cleansing. See result after 6 hours. Step 2. Burn fat and nourish with Edmark's meal replacement therapy. Organic formulation with low calorie, balanced nutrition, aids in losing weight and burns fat. Step 3. Balance and cleanse with Edmark's Splena Liquid Chlorophyll. Purifies the blood and balances pH. Step 4. Rejuvenate with Edmark's Ginseng Coffee Energy Booster. Lowers blood pressure and memory enhancer. And Red Yeast Coffee Cholesterol Buster. Anti-aging and prevents heart disease. Edmark Pasay franchise located at Empire Center, ground floor, EDSA Extension, Pasay City. For inquiries, contact Miss Bing at 0995-480-1026.
Stay with Edmark. Feel good now.
We're back and you're still watching Newsline World. Chinese troops launched a series of military exercises along the China-Myanmar border in a show of force as warships from the United States, Japan and South Korea trained near the Korean peninsula. Aliza Torres reports.
The 3-day drills that took place from November 25 to 27 were aimed at testing the rapid maneuverability, border sealing, and firepower capabilities of local position troops. Participating troops conducted live fire drills in different regions and directions, as well as demonstrated their ability to carry out border control and other combat scenarios. At the same time, warships from the United States, South Korea, and Japan trained near the Korean peninsula over the weekend. The one-day exercise took place a few days after Pyongyang suspended its military agreement with Seoul. China and North Korea have a mutual aid and cooperation treaty, as well as consider their countries as close allies. China also called for the declaration of a ceasefire and the end of fighting in Myanmar. The civil war in Myanmar has been ongoing since 1948, while a coup d'etat in 2021 deepened the tensions. Reporting, this has been Aliza Torres, SMNI News.
The Philippine government announced that it will revive peace talks with the communist terrorist group CPP, NPA, NDF to supposedly permanently end the armed struggle in the country. Hannah Jane Sancho reports.
The Philippine government is set to reinitiate peace talks with the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, and the National Democratic Front, or CPP, NPA, NDF. A move declared during a press briefing at the Malacanang Palace. Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity Secretary Carlito Galvez stated that both parties recognize challenges faced by the country and deem it appropriate to conclude the armed conflict. During the gathering, Galvez announced the acknowledgement of mutual problems and the necessity to put an end to the armed struggle.
I am honored to deliver, upon the instruction of the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., the Oslo Joint Communique. This joint communique highlights a significant milestone in the quest of the Filipino people to achieve peace, reconciliation, and unity. I am therefore privileged to report that the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the National Democratic Front of the Philippines have agreed to a principled and peaceful resolution in ending the armed conflict.
A joint communique was signed between the Philippine government and the National Democratic Front, the political wing of the CPP-NPA, on November 23, 2023 in Oslo, Norway. Representing the Philippine government were Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Antonio Lagdabeo Jr., Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity Secretary Carlito Galvez, and Retired General Emmanuel Bautista. Meanwhile, NDF party representatives included National Executive Council member Luis Halandoni, negotiating panel interim chairperson Julieta de Lima, and panel member Connie Ledesma. The Royal Norwegian Government Special Envoy Christina Lereviem witnessed the signing of the Oslo Joint Communique. Meanwhile, the NDF outlined its requests before resuming peace talks with the Philippine government. These include participation in negotiations for detained NDFP consultants, granting immunity to NDFP members participating in peace talks, release of all political prisoners, and the removal of the designation of NDFP as terrorist organization. It can be noted the Anti-Terrorism Council or ATC designated the National Democratic Front as a terrorist organization on June 23, 2021, which led to the freezing of its bank accounts and other financial assets. Meanwhile, the peace talks were initially revived during the Duterte administration, but were later withdrawn due to ongoing violence by the terrorist group. For God of my beloved Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, senators opposed a resolution urging the Philippine government to work with the ICC. Sarah Santos reports.
Talagang basag ulo to. So they're really looking for trouble. But President Duterte has said repeatedly, bring it on.
Kung meron tayong makabayan block sa lower house, meron tayong Senator Risa Ontiveros dito sa Senado. So expected ko na yan galing sa kanya.
After a similar move in the House of Representatives, Senator Risa Hontiveros filed a resolution at the Senate seeking for the Philippines' cooperation with International Criminal Court in its investigation into the country. Hontiveros filed the Senate Resolution number 867 urging the government to cooperate with the ICC to investigate potential human rights violations during the previous Duterte administration's war on drugs campaign. But Hontiveros' move has drawn criticism from Senator Amy Marcos and Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa.
Para sa akin, ang totoo, desisyon ito ng ehekutibo. Ibig sabihin ng ating ko, si Presidente, na paulit-ulit nang sinabi na hindi papapasukin ang ICC. Sang-ayon po ako doon.
Yung timing ba naman, kung kailan merong gusot between the Vice President, between the Dutertes and the Speaker of the House, saka pa naglabasan yung mga resolusyon na yan, why did it take, kung talagang sincero sila sa kanilang gusto, no, na papasukin ang ICC, why did it take 1.5 years bago nila ma-realize na, uy, kailangan pala talaga nating papasukin ang ICC kahit na hindi na tayo membro. Sige, please come in ICC. Kailangan pala talaga natin papasukin yan. It took 1.5 years bago sila mag-file ng ganong kasing resolution.
Senator Marcos criticized Hontiveros' untimely move and said that the resolution is not a priority as the public is currently facing various challenges. Marcos believes it would be better to focus on addressing the current high rice prices.
Para sa akin, mahalaga lahat ng bagay katulad nito, subalit meron pang umiigting ng mga issue na para sa mga pangkaraniwang Pilipino, mas mahalaga. Nauna na doon ang presyo ng bigas at kung paano tayo mabubusog ng Pasko, kung paano tayo magtatrabaho at mabubuhay. Yan ang pinakamahalaga.
Senator De La Rosa believes that Hontiveros' resolution won't progress in the Senate. The said resolution has a significant chance of being referred to the Committee on Foreign Relations chaired by Senator Amy Marcos and the Committee on Justice and Human Rights chaired by Senator Francis Tolentino. In addition to being known supporters and allies of former President Duterte, the two senators have previously filed resolutions questioning the interference of foreign court. To recall, earlier February, Senators Robin Padilla and Jinggoy Estrada submitted resolutions expressing support for Duterte.
Mag-gain ng traction yan sa committee level, then the committee has to be fair, di ba? Kung itakil yung kanya, itakil rin yung dalawang resolution na pending nila ni Senator Jinggoy Estrada at ni Senator Robin Padilla, na yun naman ay anti-ICC resolutions. Yung kanya is pro-ICC. So magbanggaan ngayon dyan. Sasakit ang ulo ng Justice Committee Chairman yan, si Senator Tolentino, kung paano niya yan ayusin.
Meanwhile, despite Hontiveros' resolution, Senators Bato and Amy stands with President Marcos' earlier statement that the government will not cooperate with the ICC. Reporting, this has been Andrea Santos, SMNI News.
The Philippine Education Department's anti-abuse program for students received praise from Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. Jade Calabroso tells us more.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ commends the ongoing efforts of the Department of Education, or DepEd, in addressing student abuse. DepEd recently launched the Telesafe Contact Center helpline, addressed child abuse and strengthened child protection in the country. According to Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte, they have received over 1,700 reports of abuse from students since the launching of the program. Most of the reports involve verbal abuse against students, often escalating to cases of sexual abuse and cyberbullying. Pastor Apollo praised the said program but expressed disappointment in the removal of confidential funds from DepEd that could have been used for such projects.
Napakaganda ng programa ng ating DepEd, no? Ngayon lang nangyari yan eh. Yung mayroon silang hotline. Ganda. Tapos magsusumbong yung mga tao doon. Yun ang dapat doon gagamitin ng confidential fund para mapaigting lalo yung protection ng mga kabataan sa Department of Education. Kinontra nitong mga ahas, mga ulupong ng lipunan. Pero ganun pa man, patuloy pa rin ang ating masipag na Vice President. Hindi lang masipag, maganda pa. Kung itatabi mo siya kay teacher.
Meanwhile, Vice President Sara Duterte assured they will continue to strengthen the partnership with the Philippine National Police to ensure the safety of schools and students from crime and illegal drugs. The Vice President will also collaborate with the Armed Forces of the Philippines to counter illegal recruitment by communist terrorist groups. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ made strong statements on his program Spotlight in regard to those who wish to silence SMNI. Here's my report.
Huwag niyo kaming takutin na alisin ninyo ang SMNI. Pag yan ang ginawa ninyo, talagang masama kayo. Kasi ayaw nyo makinig sa tama. Magpasalamat kayo sa bansang ito, merong hindi natatakot magsalita ng totoo. Amen. Para mag-guide ang ating bansa, hindi malugmok sa kadiliman. Yumayaman ba ako sa pagsasalita ng katotohanan? Hindi. Ako pa yung gumagastos sa SMNI ng laban kasamang bayan para harapin ang mga ulupong na ito eh.
This was the strong statement of Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ on his program Spotlight Tuesday, November 28th, regarding the reports of a group of individuals who wish to silence Sunshine Media Network International, or SMNI.
SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
This was confirmed when the House Committee on Legislative Franchises was given a directive to investigate SMNI, a call of Quezon 2nd District Representative J.J. Suarez in the House of Representatives Tuesday afternoon.
In the spirit of transparency and accountability, I humbly request this august chamber to direct the Committee on Legislative Franchises in the exercise of its inherent oversight function to investigate this matter immediately and other similar measures pending with the committee, including this personal and collective privilege.
This comes after SMNI allegedly aired misleading information about House Speaker Martin Romualdez, according to Suarez. The said investigation will commence on Thursday this week, 30th of November. SMNI is known for being vocal against the communist terrorist group CPP, NPA, NDF, particularly on the program Laban Kasama ang Bayan. However, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy stressed that SMNI is helping towards the Philippines nation building. It stands for what is good and is doing nothing wrong.
Ang SMNI mabuti ba? May masama bang ginagawa ang SMNI? Ang kasalanan ng SMNI, nagsasalita ng totoo, kasalanan ba yun? Para sa mga sinungaling at mga korap, ang SMNI ay masama. Pero para sa mga katulad ko, tumutulong for nation building, sinusugpo ang masama, SMNI, siya lang siya ang boses ngayong nananatili. Pagkatapos gusto mo pang ligwakin, gusto pa ninyong ligwakin ang SMNI, masama kayo. Niligwak na nga ninyo ang Facebook, pati ang YouTube namin. Mga masasama kayo. Wala naman kami ginagawa yan, kundi magturo ng good manners and right conduct. Ituwid ang hindi matuwid. Tulungan ang ating pamahalaan. Lahat yan kabutihan. At hindi tayo nababayaran para gawin ang masama. Tumatayo tayo para sa kabutihan. Walang istasyong ganyan sa Pilipinas.
Pastor Apollo added that leaders must not be a terror to good works and must be given more encouragement for voluntarily doing good and helping the government.
Hindi terror ang mga rulers sa good works, but to the evil. Ilan ng non-government organizations, ilan na ang award na tanggap natin sa kanila? 65 as of today. 65 recognitions and awards. Sa gobyerno, ni isa wala. Mga private individuals ang kumikilala. Sa inyo na dapat kumilala sa mga katulad namin, wala ni isa man sa inyo na naging courage na lalo sa amin, na pumunta at in-encourage kaming lalo para kami lalong tumulong. Pinag-iinitan pa. Sino mo? At ibig mo bagang mawalan ng takot sa may kapangyarihan, gawin mo ang mabuti at magkakamit ka ng kapurihan sa Kanya. Praise, ipipraise tayo. Hindi ako pinipraise sa ginagawa, hindi naman ako naghihingi ng praise. Kumbaga, kung talagang mabuti ka, nakikita mo ang isang constituent mong katulad ko, voluntarily nag-aalay para sa nation building, tumutulong, kumukontribute. Kahit man lang pikpikin ka, we encourage you to do more. Malaking bagay na yon sa atin, di ba? Pero ang pinipraise mo, ang pinainom mo ng kape, itong mga ulupong, ano ka?
For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Sarah Santos, SMNI News. Dozens of people were arrested after activists blocked the world's largest coal port in Australia to protest against climate inaction. Sheena Salim has the news.
Thousands of protesters aged between 15 to 97 years old risked arrest as they occupied the Newcastle port's shipping lane to stop coal exports from leaving the major seaport. The port of Newcastle in New South Wales, Australia, is the country's most important terminal for coal shipments and touted as the largest coal port in the world. An estimated 3,000 people took part in the climate protest approved by the police. The activists paddled into the water using kayaks, surfboards and pontoons. They have occupied a channel for 30 hours to stop coal exports from leaving Newcastle for the entire weekend. Protesters claimed that the climate action prevented more than 500,000 tons of coal from leaving the country.
My name's Declan. I'm 18 years old. I live in Meanjin. We're currently blockading the world's biggest coal port in Newcastle on a bunch of kayaks and boats and pontoons because the government continues to ignore us and ignore the climate crisis and ignore what the scientists are saying, that we need to halt all fossil fuel production by 2030.
I'm Carol Bennett and I'm a knitting nana from Gloucester. I'm here in Newcastle with nanas from the Hunter Valley, Canberra, Sydney, Taree, all over the place, and we're here to support the people's blockade of the largest coal port in the world.
Rising Tide, the organizers of the weekend protests, called the act the biggest act of civil disobedience for the climate in Australia's history. On Monday, 104 people were arrested for refusing to leave the channel. 5 minors were arrested but eventually released. Among those detained was Reverend Alan Stewart, a church minister. Organizers claimed the 97 years old was the oldest person ever arrested and charged in Australia.
Whatever happens to me doesn't matter, but what happens to the climate, because the climate is going to affect future generations, my grandchildren and great-grandchildren and so on, and as well as other people's. And I want them to have the same privileges that we had growing up.
Australia is the world's second biggest coal exporter behind Indonesia and has the third largest reserves of coal in the world. Reporting from Melbourne, this is Shina Selim, SMNI News, Australia.
Local officials collected hundreds of thousands of floating lanterns in Thailand's waterways as the 4-day Loy Krathong festival officially ended. Chatmongkon Pizamaygozon reports.
Also known as the Festival of Lights, the Loy Krathong Festival attracted a large number of local and international tourists in a span of 4 days.
This year's festival was held on the 27th of November. Almost 640,000 floating rafts, also known as krathongs, have been collected from Bangkok waterways alone. At least 96.7% of trash collected was made from natural materials such as banana tree trunks, banana leaves, cassava, and bread, among others. Officials said more than 3,000 digital krathongs floated in Klong Ong Ang help reduce the number of trash for this year's festival. Every year, thousands of people gather together to release the lotus-shaped floating rafts called krathongs, decorated with candles, incense, and flowers onto lakes, rivers, and canals to pay respects to the water spirits.
Thailand's Culture Ministry previously said it is preparing to register the Loy Krathong Festival in UNESCO's list of World Heritage in 2024. รายงานจากราชบุรี นายชัดมงคล วิสมัยโกศล SMNI News ประเทศไทย สวัสดีครับ
China has issued new regulations to help Taiwan residents visit and live in the mainland. The move, starting on the 1st of January 2024, will shorten the time to process applications and could incorporate Taiwan residents into the Chinese mainland's public services. The regulations respond to a years-long demand. In 1979, the Chinese mainland appealed to re-establish postal communication, business, and sea navigation with Taiwan. Progress has been made, but more than 4 decades on, obstacles remain. One success story lies in China's southeastern Fujian province, where direct ferry services run between Taiwan-administrated Kinmen and Mazu. Reporter Lu Sirui visits the Fujian city of Xiamen to learn about the history and importance of the ferry there.
Luosifen, a kind of pungent but addictive snack from southwestern China, has become a must-buy at the Wutong Dock of Xiamen. Most buyers are from Kinmen and Taiwan. They say the food is banned in the region because of the local authorities' overreaction to a company's advertising slogan, "You're my people."
这是给台湾的准备是吗？对呀。哦，他们为什么会带这么多呀？一个人带。蔡英文就是没那个度量，那长很短。
Such bittersweet exchanges would not happen if the direct sea links between Xiamen and Kinmen did not open. Before the opening of the line, people from Kinmen had to detour to Japan or Hong Kong to enter Xiamen. I'm here at Xiamen's Heping Dock. In 2001, the Taiwu ferry arrived here from Taiwan with more than 100 people on board, marking the opening of the first direct passenger service across the Taiwan Straits.
人们极目眺望，期盼着满载着金门乡亲的客轮出现在海面上。
The opening of the route took many years of officials from both sides. Everything was unprecedented and had political risks.
If you speak from a historical point of view, the opening of the line took us 52 years.
Zhang Baowei was one of the pioneers to open the line. With special approval from authorities, he always traveled directly between Xiamen and Kinmen for his work. The efficiency made him believe that he should help to broaden this convenience to ordinary people.
是两岸这个前往交界的时候啊，我带了金门县。
I got the idea when I dealt with the repatriate cases between the mainland and Taiwan. I was able to privately bring the younger brother of the deputy director of Jinmen County from Xiamen to Kinmen. I then reported to my boss. I said we should boost the exchanges on the people-to-people level.
民间往来，这个改革开放以后，
After the reform and opening up, we have created many benefits for people on both sides. However, it wouldn't work without direct travel between Xiamen and Jinmen.
Though it was complicated, the idea was still pursued. Ma Jilie was involved in the negotiations with Taiwan authorities.
吴成典当时带来的签字签完，就留证给我做纪念。这个就是我说我保留起来了，我当时就这样放在我们局里面的信封里面，就这样。那么跟台湾之间谈这个东西。
The negotiations with Taiwan were very politically sensitive. The certificates of cabin crews, what kind of flags do we use for the navigation, the registration of the ferries, all this should be crystal clear in the agreement.
The opening of the direct passenger service is followed by other direct sea and air routes between Taiwan and the mainland. Cross-strait interaction has since become frequent.
I love my job. I love working on the affairs concerning Taiwan. Even when I was a soldier, I wanted to contribute to peaceful reunification.
The Xiamen-Jinmen Sea Link is allowing more than 6,000 people to travel back and forth every day. The fruit of the labor of the older generation is not only kept, but it's being reinforced. 罗思蕊 CGTN 厦门福建 Province.
And for our sports news, on Monday, Pastor Apollo Siki Buloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ hit the hard court anew in a friendly match between his team, the ACQ All-Stars, and ACQ Selections. Hans Marshall has the news.
It's game night tonight for Pastor Apollo Siki Buloy here at Jose Maria College Foundation Incorporated Sky Gymnasium. And right off the bat, the good pastor showed off his signature three-point shots.
All right, All-Stars to the ball. Pastor. For three!
The first quarter of the game already saw the ACQ All-Stars a favorable start of the match as Pastor Apollo already racked up 4 3-point shots, free throw, and assists, giving the other team a hard time to keep up.
Welcome back to another exciting ball game tonight between the ACQ All-Stars and Selection. It's November 27, 2023 here in the New Jerusalem, Davao City, Philippines. It's another beautiful night and we're ready for the tip-off. Jump ball. Pastor with a free throw. All right, All-Stars to the ball. Pastor. For three! Ball possession, All-Stars on the outside. Pastor will get it. Pastor with 4. With the step. Pulls up for 3! No good. Rebound. All-Stars. Pastor with the ball. Pastor gets it to the cutter. All the way. 23. Yes! For 3-point assist for Pastor. 9-4. All-Stars. 8 minutes 40. Pastor with 7. Step. Victory. All right, ball's in. All-Stars gets it. Pastor. 23. Pulls up. 2-point. 3 from long range. Shot clock. Down to 10. 10 to shoot. 9, 8. Pastor will get it beyond the 3-point arc with a step. What a rebound. All-Stars will get it. Pass with the ball. Pass on the boom. On the drive. Yes, sir. selected. Passer will get it. Passer with a pass. Yes. 2 assists. Passer with 3 assists. 33, 27. All stars. Passer with 18. 5 3 points. 1 2 points and 1 free throw. 3 assists and 1 rebound. Passer again. At the middle 6.
The match continued to heat up as the ACQ selection's chance to bank more points got slimmer as the game progressed.
Here's the pass to number 1. Back to Passer. Passer with the ball. Dribbling on the outside. Gets to the count. Out the pass, Passer will get it. Back to the way, Passer with 36. Back to Passer. Pass on the outside. 4 assists and 1 rebound with 4 minutes 12 to play here in the third quarter. Shot clock winding down. Down to 5, 4, 3. All right, once again. All stars on the outside. Oh!
Passer Polo's 3-point shots continued to give the ACQ All-Stars the edge in the last quarter of the game, giving them the push to bank 4 more shots.
Led by Passer, 53 points. 63 points. 1 2 points and 3 free throws. Passer will get it. Passer with 17 3 points earlier. Make it! 59 points for Passer. 18 for Blanca. Passer with 63. 4 free throws. 64 points.
The ACQ All-Stars added the latest friendly match to the winning streak as they ended on a high note with 133 over 98 points. Meanwhile, Passer Polo scored a total of 64 points with 19 3-point shots, 5 free throws, 4 assists, and 1 2 points and rebound.
Once again, Passer leading the All-Stars to victory with 64 points, 19 3 points, 1 2 points, 5 free throws, 4 assists, and 1 rebound.
Game plan?
Yes.
To shoot. To shoot as many 3 points as I can. I got the goal.
Okay.
At least I want 20, but I got 19 shots.
The Kingdom Children Grove School performed a special dance presentation where they call for love and peace amidst the ongoing conflict between Israel and the Palestine.
People killing, people dying, children hurt, you hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach? Would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us and some guidance from above. 'Cause right now people have me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love?
is shown by the media. Negative images is the main criteria, infecting the young minds faster than bacteria. Kids wanna act like what they see in the cinema. Whatever happened to the values of humanity? Whatever happened to the fairness and equality? Instead of spreading love, we're spreading animosity.
May pagkakataon, may pagkakataon, sa ama may pagkakataon.
Very nice. Palestinian and Israeli to have peace together in security.
This is Task Marshal reporting, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. The gospel of love is the most honorable ideology of all. And for our Christmas countdown, there's only 26 days more to go before Christmas. That's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news update, you may visit SMNInewschannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Sarah Santos. Thank you for watching Newsline World, and thank you to our beloved Pastor Apollo Sikiburoy, for the opportunity to be a part of this program. May you continue to listen on SMNI as it delivers nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news, because SMNI is your source of credible news.